to the Reality Check video review. Today we're going to be taking a quick comparative look at the Samsung Note 8 versus the OnePlus 5T. And if you've seen both of these phones before, you will know that these are some of the best phones that you can possibly have in the market right now. The big difference between these two phones, of course, is going to be the price tag. This one right here comes in just under $1,000, whereas this one comes in just over $500. So the differences between the two phones are, of course, not as large as you might think. At the same time, they can be huge depending on what you're using the phone for. So, of course, first off, if you're using the phone for everyday usage, just especially, thumb on screen type stuff, this phone over here actually does an amazing job. You wouldn't necessarily know it just by looking at them, but this phone over here has 8GB RAM, whereas this one maxes out at 6GB RAM. Not only that, it has 128 ROM. This one also has 128GB as well. The big difference between the two, this one has the ability for an SD card. This one does not have the ability to add an SD card to it. Another quick feature here is the Samsung Note 8 has a stylus on the bottom here, so you've got the stylus that you can pull out. The OnePlus 5T does not have any stylus on the bottom. Both phones do, however, have a 3.5mm jack for your headphones, which of course is a great feature to have considering the iPhone has decided to go away from that. Another great feature about both of these phones is that they do have dual cameras on the back and a fingerprint sensor. The big difference between the Note 8 fingerprint sensor and the OnePlus 5T is, of course, the positioning. I know that when I'm using this phone right here, I can almost always just, if the phone's off, for example, just by picking up the phone and putting my finger on the back right here, just in the middle, it just turns my phone on, just instantly. And that actually, I don't even mean to do it, it just works perfectly. With the Samsung, you don't ever just accidentally put your finger on the back, and so in that case you're actually searching somewhat, and I always smear the camera, and then of course I finally can get it, and there it opens up. So the differences as far as the fingerprint sensor goes, I actually really enjoy the fingerprint sensor on the OnePlus much more than the Samsung. Okay, now when it comes to the actual phones, there are quite a bit of differences. This one actually does run a higher processor because it's overclocked at 2.45 gigahertz, and they both have 8 cores, so they're both extremely fast. If I open up, Google Chrome, boom, it pops up right away on both of them. Let's see if I wanted to go to YouTube's. It loads up on this phone just a second faster than it loaded up on this phone. So even something like that, it can load a little bit faster on this phone, so this phone will win some of the times, which is somewhat surprising if you're looking at the two. Another thing is they both have Gorilla Glass. While this display is 1080 by 2160, this one over here is 1440 by 2960. Not only are they each a little bit different resolution, but the Samsung Note 8 actually has the ability to be used with the Gear VR. So when you're playing in virtual reality, something with a larger resolution and of course pixels, more pixels is going to definitely help you be immersed in VR. Whereas the OnePlus 5T just does not have that pixel density that you've got over here. You've got over 4 million pixels in this phone right here, whereas you have just under 2.5 million pixels in this phone right here. So there's quite a bit of difference in pixels, but when you're just looking at them right here, you're not going to really notice that. When you put this headset on, that's when you're going to notice that pixel density. So that's what makes this phone better, especially if you're going to be using it for virtual reality. Both phones run Bluetooth 5.0, which means they can connect to 2 different devices at the same time, which is pretty freaking awesome. Both phones also have facial detection, so if I turn off the phone and I go to turn on the phone, if it looks at my face, it turns on. If it looks at my face, it turns on. But one thing I want you to notice is actually look how long it takes. This phone seems to be a lot faster with facial detection than this one. So if I turn it on, boom, turn it on. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it real quick. I'm going to turn them both off and turn them both on. If I turn it on without my face, it goes to the menu. If I turn it on without my face, it goes to the menu. So let's see what happens. I'm going to turn both of them on without my face. That's what happens. They both go to the menu. Now when I turn them on with my face, let's see. This one instantly. This one doesn't even go to the menu. It just instantly opens up when it sees my face before you can even see anything. So let's try it one more time. 1, 2. Instantly. This one's a faster facial detection without a doubt. And I noticed that while I was playing with them. I used this one for a couple days and then I used this one for a couple days. And one thing I noticed over and over is I could not get into this phone nearly as fast as I could get into this phone. With the fingerprint detector and with the facial scan, this one is a faster phone to get into without a doubt. That also makes sense considering the processor's faster, it's got more RAM. It just makes sense. So, all right. The last thing I want to talk about really quickly is, of course, the cameras. There are, of course, different cameras on each of these, even though there are 2 on the back of each of them. Believe it or not, the OnePlus 5T actually has a higher megapixel on the front and the rear camera, but overall, as far as the quality on each cameras, I have to say that you definitely get a little bit better picture out of the Samsung Note 8. It's a little bit clearer and it's a little bit more superior than the lens on here. At the same time, having the focus on both of these cameras is certainly something that you really have to appreciate. I can go to portrait mode, I can go to live focus on each, and you'll notice one camera is much more zoomed in than the other. So it's also the lens. The lens is much different on each of these cameras. So you can see right there if we do a live focus shot. Lastly, when it comes to picture size, the OnePlus 5T has an 18:9 size, and the Samsung has an 18:5:9 screen size. So they are a little bit different in its resolution in entirety, but still, both of them are great phones. So that's it for my quick review. I just wanted to basically show you some of the different key features of each phone and talk about them. They really are both beautiful devices. If you're looking for a great phone, for half the price of the iPhones or the Samsungs, the OnePlus 5T is going to be very hard to ignore, especially considering how much it actually packs into the price value. At the same time, if you're looking for a phone to do virtual reality, if you want to use the gear, if you want mobile VR at all, this Samsung Note 8 is definitely the phone for you. So take a look at each of these and see which one best fits you. I hope this video helps out anybody who's taken a look at this stuff, and definitely have more reviews, more 3D printers, more tech stuff on the way. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
So blah 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 blah. Talking about this phone right here. Blah 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 blah.